Now, we heard the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Sir Vince Cable, a moment ago, out and about in Lambeth, celebrating his party's success. He joins us now down the line. Sir Vince Cable, thank you for talking to us. Were you surprised by the scale of your victories in the elections overnight?
Yes, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it was fairly clear we had momentum and we were doing well, but I'm delighted by the scale of the popular vote and of the seats we've won. And I think a bigger picture is that if you take the Remain parties as a whole, we've had a very strong turnout, a very good result. And I think we're now demonstrating that there's a majority of people in the country who don't want to leave the European Union now.
Well, the psephologists are not exactly drawing that conclusion, though, are they? What the conclusion we have from Sir John Curtis on these points, who's doing the psephology on the BBC, is that, yes, there's obviously a polarising Remain vote, which is visible in your result, and there's a polarising Leave vote. You said you were pleasantly surprised by your own result. Are you unpleasantly surprised by the Brexit Party's result?
Well, not greatly. I mean, they've made a small advance on where the UKIP party were when the last European results were announced. But I think, there clearly is going to be arguments backward and forward, and the only way now to resolve the issue is to go back to the public and have a referendum on whether we leave or stay, on what are the terms of leaving. I mean, it's the only way of resolving what is, as you rightly say, a very polarised electorate.
Well, that seems obvious to you, but it still doesn't seem obvious to the Labour leader, despite the quite vocally expressed views of his front bench. He's still talking about preferring a general election.
Well, that is another option, and that may well happen if we get a new Conservative leader who wants to establish some credibility. And whether they would risk election, I'm not sure, but it certainly is an option. But I mean, Jeremy Corbyn's position is now very weak. I mean, he's been almost humiliated in these elections. It was understandable the Tories were going to take a hammering, but for the Labour Party to go down so far and become so discredited with this ambivalent position towards Brexit, I suspect his own position is a good deal weaker than it was a few days ago.
If we can just talk about your electoral fortunes again for a moment, because obviously it was a good result, as everyone's saying, for you overnight, but many are also saying it's a protest vote over Brexit. It would not be repeated in a general election. It would be a wasted vote there.
Well, it clearly isn't a wasted vote, because otherwise we wouldn't have done so well in the local elections either, where far from being a protest vote, it was often a very positive vote for Liberal Democrats in local government. No, clearly when we get to a general election, we have the familiar problem of first past the post, but I think in a way British politics is now changing in quite a radical way. I would be surprised if the Conservative Party or the Labour Party survive intact to the general election. There are tremendous tensions now within the two traditional parties, and we may get a completely different kind of political alignment by the time we next go to the polls nationally. And Liberal Democrats will be in a very, very strong position to lead opinion in those elections.
Is that you with evidence or facts to support that, or is that you just stirring it up to provoke a more imminent existential crisis for the two main parties?
Well, I don't need to. I mean, you just listen to the way they talk to each other. And the Conservative Party are clearly in terrible disarray. We don't know what's going to happen with their leadership election. The Labour Party has been quiet for a while, but we know that there is a latent civil war that could break forward again at any time. No, I don't think I'm exaggerating. I mean, the tensions, the cracks in the system are all too apparent.
Talking about tensions and cracks in the system around the questions of leadership, of course, your own party will soon have a leadership battle as you depart. Is that going to be all sweetness and light?
No, I think it's very good. We're doing this in a very orderly way, as I hoped. I said we would have a planned succession. That's what we're going to get, but there is now a competition between potentially very good candidates. I wish them well. I will remain active myself in the broader movement. No, I'm very optimistic about where this is going to lead my party.
And so who are you supporting for that role? Do you have a preferred candidate?
No, I don't. It would be inappropriate for me to pick sides, but in any event, the candidates I know about are very, very capable. They've served in government in senior roles. They're very good opposition campaigning politicians as well. So I think the party will be in good hands, whoever it is.
And what will be your first word of advice to them? What will be your first instruction about what they should do on their first week in office?
No, I'm not giving instructions. I will be, talking privately about some of the problems any party in our position faces, trying to build up to the next step. But no, they'll be taking on the leadership in a very good position. But there's a lot more to do. We've still got to win the battle over Brexit. I'm optimistic now, but it's got to be won.
Sir Vince Cable, thank you so much for joining us.